Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey friends, thanks for stopping on by. This is your roadside fruit stand on the Information Superhighway. It's called Daily Dose Radio. Come on in, get in out of the sunshine, get in under the shade, and let's look and see what we've got today. Prepared fresh, just for you, verses 14 and 15 in Psalm 10. Now, we just completed our examination of the characteristics of the wicked man, and we've looked at 14 different separate items that identify him. And, of course, they're kind of broken up at the very end. Was the 13th and 14th came after a prayer, "Rise up, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand, do not forget the afflicted." Of course, God's not going to, even though the wicked man said God has forgotten. Now we come to verse 14, and we find out that God's going to do something here about what has been seen. Let's look at verses 14 and 15. "For you have seen mischief and wickedness. You have seen to require it at your hand. Unto you the hapless has entrusted his cause. You are the help of the orphan. Break the arm of the wicked and the evil one. Search out his wickedness until you find no more." Notice how twice we have the verb to see. You have seen mischief. You have seen to require it. So God has been watching. Now the wicked man said, well, he's not watching. He doesn't see anything. Oh, yeah, he is. He's watching carefully what's going on. He's seen mischief and wickedness. Now, where did we see those two words in combination earlier? Well, we saw them back in verse 7, and they were where? You remember? In verse 7, they were under his tongue. So there was mischief and wickedness under his tongue, but then, as the definition progressed, we noticed that there was also mischief and wickedness in his hands. It starts in his heart, because remember, in his pride, he said about God that he's not paying any attention. And then we have it in his tongue, in his mouth, and he's speaking the treachery and the oppression and so forth, and the mischief and the wickedness. And now we have it in his hands because he's like a lion that crouches in the grass. And he kills, and he drags away the poor, and he tears down the fortress of the hapless by his strong ones. So God has seen all of this. The mischief and the wickedness never stays in the heart, never stays in the mouth, always proceeds to the hands, and the hands have done something that now God has seen and is going to take action against. Because God is the helper of the orphan. He is the one to whom the hapless entrust their cause. So God is trustworthy. He's safeguarding these folks, even though they're under oppression right now. He's the one that's watching. And then notice this prayer in verse 15. Break the arm of the wicked and the evil one. Well, we could go right back up to verse 12, couldn't we? Put those two together. Rise up, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand. Do not forget the afflicted. Break the arm of the wicked and the evil one. God's going to do something, isn't he? He's about to, and the tension should be mounting here. You know, the anticipation of what God is going to execute should be mounting, and what we have in the second part of the couplet in verse 15 spells for us that tension. Search out his wickedness until you find no more. Now, the wicked man said in his heart, he does not look into it, speaking of God. That verb, does not look into it, is the verb that means to search or to seek. And here we have it again. Now, in the mouth of the psalmist as a prayer, search out his wickedness. The wicked man said, God doesn't search anything out. The praying psalmist says, oh God, search him out. And not just a little bit, but search out every black deed, every wicked thought. Lay it all out as a case before him until you find nothing more. Just get every single scrap on the table. And then what's going to happen? The king's going to sit on his throne and judgment is coming. All right, we'll look for that tomorrow and Friday, so join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.